Welcome back to another video. Today we're talking about Welcome to the N.H.K, which is one of my favorite anime and manga of all time. Today's video is mostly focusing on the basics of what Welcome to the N.H.K is, as well as the differences between the manga, the novel, as well as the anime series. Let's get started. Welcome to the N.H.K is a psychological drama with elements of dark comedy, and yes, the story is very dark, dealing with themes such as depression and even suicide at times. This story follows Tatsuhiro Sato, an agoraphobic recluse who rarely ever leaves his apartment, and that's only whenever he needs to go out and buy food. Otherwise, he hasn't had a social interaction with anyone in years. The major point of this story is for him to get over his problems and to just have a normal life, to be happy. But of course, this would be very boring if he was inside his apartment alone for the entire series, so he meets other characters. We have his former underclassman Yamazaki, which becomes his next-door neighbor and is a total otaku. We have his upperclassman, who was his senpai, and she's mostly there as a way to give exposition into Sato's past. And we also have his creepy stalker girl who wants to be a savior, his angel basically, Misaki. From the looks of things with his interactions with Yamazaki and Misaki, he has a pretty busy life, but things aren't exactly as it seems, as everyone else has their ulterior motives, as well as Sato's depression coming into play. Because I'm in the middle of working on a review for the anime right now, which will probably be out in a week from now, but whenever I do finish it, I will link it here, I'm not going to talk any more about the plot than that. I want to get into the differences between the light novel, the manga, and the anime as well. The anime, I think it's like 24 episodes. The manga is 8 volumes long, and the novel is just this one little novel here, so you really can't imagine that they all contain the same story, which they don't. The difference between these three versions are that the anime and the novel take place within the same relative time frame. However, they do focus on different events. There's also the manga, which goes much further than any of these, but I'll tell you why you need to read that lastly in a moment here. Now, the anime mostly focuses on Sato's perspective, and it briefly touches on the lives of other characters around him, only because they have their interaction with him, and it mostly focuses on their interaction with his life. The anime doesn't focus on Misaki at all, really. She's a character that has influence on Sato's life, but we learn little about her. The novel, on the other hand, is still told from Sato's perspective, but it shows much more characterization of Misaki. Some of the differences between the anime and the novel are that the novel features superior pacing to the anime, as the anime, coming after both the novel and the manga, tries to focus on events from both of the stories, which is actually a bad idea because the manga has characters which are only relevant to its story, as where the anime tries and bring these characters into its story when they're honestly irrelevant. The novel only focuses on Sato, Yamazaki, and Misaki, but the main emphasis is actually on Sato and Misaki. I wanted to talk about this briefly without giving any spoilers, but the differences between the endings of the novel and the anime are basically that they end with the same events, but the novel actually goes into much detail. It gives you about an episode's worth of detail that you don't get within the anime. So you're probably asking yourself, because I said that the novel has superior pacing and a better ending, why did I recommend that you start with the anime instead of the novel? That's because the novel is very dark, and it's possibly not as relatable as the anime is, and I think the anime is going to hook you more into the story than the novel will, because as you've all seen, if you've seen the trailers, or even if you've seen any of Welcome to the N.H.K before, there are times when Sato will actually go a bit crazy and start talking to its furniture. The truth of the matter is, he is high as hell, and in the novel, he is doing all sorts of drugs. He's making drugs. Yamazaki's making bombs, homemade bombs in the novel. You know, it's really crazy stuff here, and that also happens within the manga as well, and I don't think that that's going to be as relatable to everyone as the anime would, which kind of takes the more sensible road. So getting into some of the differences between the manga and the anime, I'm not going to compare this to the novel because I've already compared that to the anime, and it would be redundant, but the manga isn't always told from a first-person perspective, but a multiple character narrative where we actually see a lot of Yamazaki's life from his perspective, and it also shows a lot of the characters' lives that are really shown in more detail than they were within the anime series, even though they are mostly shown from a first-person perspective, from Sato's perspective there. But we see all of the characters from the anime series, the Mouse Road characters, the girl's Hikikomori brother. We also see Sato's upperclassmen within the manga, and it really shows a lot from her story as well. Some of the other major differences are that all of the events within the anime, they kind of take place within the manga, but they are completely different. If you've seen the anime already, then you know about the offline meet. It is completely different here. The way that they do it is different in the manga, and also the way that the other characters interact with each other as well as react to the event itself, they are completely different. This is why I do not recommend that if you've already seen the anime, picking up in some random volume of the manga. If you've already seen the anime, if you've already read the novel, then pick up volume 1 of the manga. And yes, I know some of the information may seem redundant because you've already read it and seen it, but certain events will unfold in different ways which are actually relevant to the overall story, so don't skip around. Some of the differences with the way the story is told in regards to its dramatic events and its comical events here are that they really crank it up a whole lot within the manga. The dramatic events are really extreme, almost to the point where they're unbelievable or melodramatic at times, but still it was capable of sending me on a field trip when reading it. And then some of the comical events, they're really taken over the top as well. Like one time, I really can't talk about the dramatic events because that would be considered a spoiler, but as far as the comedy goes, I can mention this. One time, there was this chapter where Sato and Yamazaki get so high that they believe that they're gods for the whole chapter. It was pretty funny. And of course, without giving spoilers, the ending of this is not anything like the ending of the anime or novel at all. As I've said, this does go twice as far as those stories do, and I felt that the ending was very satisfying. On times, I will actually go back and reread the last chapter just because it is so touching to me reading that, and it's definitely something that I would recommend to everyone to go ahead and read watch the anime, read the novel, and then read the manga last. So anyways, I hope this video helped you get into the series of Welcome to the NHK. Stay tuned next week for my review of the anime, and also let me know in the comment section below your thoughts about Welcome to the NHK. If you've read the novel, if you've read the manga, and also if you've seen the anime, let me know your thoughts about that. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.